Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about wheat pennies, some of the most valuable and collectible coins in U.S. history. These old pennies might look ordinary, but a few of them are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In this video, I'll explain why certain wheat pennies are rare, what years to look for, and how you might already have one worth real money. So make sure you stay until the very end, because you don't want to miss which wheat pennies could be extremely valuable. If you enjoy learning about rare coins and hidden treasures, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You'll want to catch every video as we uncover the value behind America's most iconic coins. Let's get started. First up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the most fascinating and widely collected coins in American history, and many collectors don't realize just how valuable this coin can be. Even though it may look like an ordinary old penny, the truth is that some 1944 wheat pennies hold hidden value, depending on small details that most people overlook. If you've ever come across a 1944 penny, it's worth paying close attention, because this could be one of the most valuable coins you'll ever find in your change. Let's talk about what makes the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark so special. First, it was minted in Philadelphia, which means it has no mint mark under the date. In 1944, the United States Mint produced these pennies using copper, since the steel cents of 1943 were discontinued. During World War II, copper was an important material for ammunition, so in 1943, the Mint had switched to zinc-coated steel to save copper for the war effort. But in 1944, production returned to copper using recycled shell casings from the battlefields, giving the coin a deep historical connection to the war. This unique background alone makes the 1944 penny an important piece of American history and a key coin for collectors. The 1944 wheat penny features Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1944 on the right. On the reverse side, you'll find the iconic two wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E Pluribus Unum above. This classic design by Victor David Brenner remains one of the most recognized and loved designs in U.S. coinage. Now, let's explore the value and rarity of the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark. Because this coin was minted in Philadelphia, it was produced in very large numbers. Over 1 billion coins were made that year. However, not all of them are equal. Most 1944 pennies are made of copper, but a very small number were mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. Those are the extremely rare 1944 steel cents, and they can be worth tens of thousands of dollars or more depending on condition. If you happen to find a 1944 penny that sticks to a magnet, it's likely one of those rare steel versions, and it could make you a fortune. Even the regular copper 1944 no mint mark penny can have good collector value, especially when it's in excellent condition. Coins that have been well preserved, with sharp details and minimal wear, are often worth much more than face value. For example, a 1944 wheat penny that looks bright red and uncirculated could sell for several dollars, while one with strong luster and clean surfaces could fetch even higher prices among collectors who seek top-quality examples. What also adds interest is that many 1944 pennies have minor variations or die errors, which can increase their value significantly. Some coins may have double die obverse errors, where the lettering or numbers appear doubled under magnification. Others may show die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks on other versions, like the 1944 D or 1944 S. But even the no mint mark 1944 penny can have subtle die varieties that collectors actively look for. Finding one of these error coins can make your simple penny suddenly worth a lot more than you'd expect. Another reason collectors love the 1944 penny is its connection to history. This coin circulated widely during the 1940s, through World War II, post-war America, and the start of an economic boom. People who find a 1944 penny today are often holding a tangible piece of that era, a coin that passed through countless hands when life in the U.S. was dramatically changing. That historical connection gives the coin sentimental and collectible value, far beyond its face value of 1 cent. When it comes to coin condition or preservation, It's crucial to remember that the sharper the detail and the brighter the color, the more valuable the coin becomes. Coins that retain their original red color from the mint are the most desirable, followed by red-brown and brown examples. Collectors especially seek out uncirculated examples that show no signs of wear, with crisp lettering and full wheat stock lines on the back. Those are indicators of high-grade coins, which are always in demand. Even though billions were produced, finding a clean, bright 1944 penny with no mint mark in great condition isn't always easy. Many have been damaged, scratched, or corroded over the decades. That's why if you find one in your change or an old coin jar, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Even if it's a regular copper version, it could still be worth keeping, especially if it looks nearly new. Some collectors build entire collections around Lincoln wheat pennies, and the 1944 coin is one of the most essential pieces in that set. Its historical background, connection to the war, and the rare steel version all make it a must-have. If you're just starting coin collecting, the 1944 penny is a great entry point because it's affordable in lower grades, but has the potential for major value in special cases. Let's also talk about how to spot the difference between a valuable 1944 penny and an ordinary one. Start by checking the material. Copper pennies won't stick to a magnet, but the ultra-rare steel versions will. Then, look closely at the details on Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the wheat stalks on the back. Sharpness of detail often translates directly into higher value. Over time, many collectors have shared stories about finding a 1944 penny in a drawer or in old jars that turned out to be worth far more than they imagined. This is one reason why it's so exciting to check your change and old coin collections. The next 1944 penny you find could be one of those rare coins that collectors dream of. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, with no mint mark, remains a shining symbol of American heritage, a coin that tells a story of wartime change, craftsmanship, and history. It's more than just a cent. It's a piece of the past that continues to capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. So, if you have a 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, hold on to it. Examine it carefully. Look for errors or unusual details, and appreciate its history. You might be surprised how valuable it really is. Many people have found that this simple little penny turned out to be a true treasure, hiding in plain sight. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is one of those classic examples that keeps collectors excited year after year. Whether you find one in an old collection or an everyday change, this coin deserves your attention. Every single 1944 wheat penny carries a piece of America's story, and in some cases, it carries real monetary value too. That's why it's so important to always check your pennies carefully. A little knowledge about coins like the 1944 wheat penny can turn an ordinary find into an incredible discovery. And remember, even if yours looks like just another old penny, it could actually be a small but valuable part of history worth holding onto for generations to come. Next up, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark is one of those coins that many people overlook, yet it can actually be quite valuable. This penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it has no mint mark under the date. Even though billions were made, not every 1945 wheat penny is the same, and some can be worth far more than 1 cent, especially if you know what details to look for. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny features the familiar design created by Victor David Brenner. On the front, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln with the words, "In God we trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1945 to the right. On the back, you have the 2 wheat stalks on either side, framing 1 cent and United States of America, along with E Pluribus Unum above. This is the classic wheat-back design that collectors admire for its simple, traditional look. Now, even though the 1945 wheat penny is common, it can still have collector value, especially when it's found in excellent condition or has unique minting features. The key is to check your coin carefully for sharp details, strong lettering, and clean surfaces. Coins that show clear wheat lines on the back and no heavy wear on Lincoln's portrait are always more desirable to collectors. But what really makes the 1945 no mint mark wheat penny exciting are the errors and varieties that can appear. Some of these small mistakes happen during production at the mint, and they can increase a coin's value significantly. Watch for double die obverse errors, where the date or letters look doubled. Also, check for off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or slightly misplaced. Other interesting varieties include die cracks, which look like raised lines on the surface, or lamination errors, where the metal layers didn't bond perfectly. These kinds of minting errors are rare and can make your 1945 penny worth much more to collectors. Even without errors, a 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark can be worth more if it's in exceptional condition. Coins that still look crisp and show no major scratches, dents, or corrosion often attract higher interest. Many collectors prefer coins that retain their full design details and strong definition in Lincoln's hair and beard, as well as the wheat stalks on the reverse. The better the detail, the higher the value. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion of these pennies in 1945, which makes them common in lower grades. However, the challenge for collectors is finding one that looks as if it just left the mint, with no significant signs of wear. Those examples are not easy to find anymore, and that's why they can be worth several dollars or more, depending on their overall sharpness and eye appeal. Another reason collectors pay attention to the 1945 wheat penny is that it was among the last coins struck during the wartime era, when materials were closely monitored and production consistency varied. Small differences in die alignment, strike pressure, or planchet quality can make one 1945 penny more desirable than another. Paying attention to those small details can make a big difference in recognizing a valuable example. It's also important to understand that even a regular 1945 no mint mark wheat penny can be a nice find. Over the decades, many of these coins were spent, lost, or damaged, so discovering one in excellent shape is always exciting. If you check through your change, an old jar of coins, or an inherited collection, take the time to look closely at each 1945 penny. Some of them are worth keeping and can surprise you with their value. Collectors who build complete Lincoln Wheat sets always need the 1945 no mint mark coin to fill an important spot. That constant demand helps keep interest and value steady for this issue. Even though it's not one of the rarest pennies, it's still a key piece in the long-running Lincoln Cent series and a favorite among those who love collecting older coins. You should also keep an eye out for strike quality. Some 1945 pennies were struck more sharply than others, producing clearer details. Well-struck coins have strong edges, well-defined wheat lines, and visible texture in Lincoln's features. These are the examples that stand out to collectors and often bring higher prices. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark is an excellent example of how even a small, simple coin can hold real value. Many people overlook these older cents, assuming they're only worth a penny, but collectors know that coins in outstanding condition or with mint errors can be worth several times more. It's always worth taking a moment to inspect your coins carefully. You might be holding something valuable without even realizing it. So, if you have a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark, don't spend it. Keep it safe, examine it under good light, and pay close attention to the details. Whether it's the quality of the strike, a rare error, or just an unusually well-preserved coin, you could be looking at a piece that's worth much more than you think. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny remains one of the most collected coins of its time because of its classic design and the chance of finding hidden value among ordinary-looking pennies. Always check your coins carefully. You never know when you'll find one of these valuable wheat pennies waiting to surprise you. Next up, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny with the S mint mark is one of those fascinating coins that every collector should pay attention to, because even though it looks like a regular old penny, it can actually be quite valuable. Many people have these coins sitting in drawers, jars, or old family collections without realizing that some of them can be worth many times their face value. The 1951 S wheat penny has several unique features and varieties that make it an important part of U.S. coin history, and a coin worth knowing about if you're a collector or a treasure hunter. The 1951 S wheat penny was minted at the San Francisco Mint, which is why you'll see a small S mint mark just below the date on the front of the coin. The S stands for San Francisco, and it helps distinguish this coin from the ones made in Philadelphia and Denver that same year. This mint mark is one of the first things to look for when checking your pennies, because it instantly tells you which branch of the U.S. Mint produced it, and that can make a big difference in the coin's overall value and rarity. The obverse side of the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny features the classic design created by Victor David Brenner, showing a portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" above his head, Liberty on the left, and the date 1951 with the S mint mark below it on the right. On the reverse side, the coin displays the two famous wheat stalks, framing 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum across the top. This timeless design was used from 1909 until 1958, and it remains one of the most iconic looks in American coinage. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1951 wheat penny valuable. The San Francisco Mint produced over 136 million of these coins, so it's not rare by mintage numbers alone. However, like most coins, its condition, strike quality, and minting errors play a major role in determining its true value. Circulated examples, coins that have been used and show signs of wear, are usually worth a few cents each. But when you find a 1951 wheat penny in uncirculated condition, the value can rise significantly, sometimes reaching several dollars or more depending on quality. The most valuable examples are those that have strong, sharp details, clear lines in Lincoln's portrait, and crisp wheat stalks on the back. Coins that show no signs of damage, corrosion, or discoloration are much more desirable to collectors. Because the 1951 penny was struck in San Francisco, some examples have a softer strike, meaning the details are not as sharp. So finding one with full, bold detail makes it even more special and valuable. But what really makes the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny exciting is the potential for mint errors and die varieties. During production, small mistakes sometimes occurred that make certain coins stand out and become worth far more than average. Collectors look for things like double die obverse errors, where parts of the design, such as the date, the word Liberty, or "In God We Trust," appear doubled. Other valuable varieties include repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the S mint mark was stamped more than once, creating a visible doubling or shadow effect. These RPM varieties are highly collectible and can make your 1951 penny worth significantly more. There are also off-center strikes, die cracks, and lamination errors that occurred during minting. These types of flaws happen when the metal or dies used in striking the coin weren't aligned or prepared perfectly. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value can be. So, if you have a 1951 penny that looks slightly off, has raised lines, or features unusual markings around the mint mark or date, it's definitely worth inspecting closely. Another important factor in value is the grade of the coin. Coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, especially those graded as mint state, can command strong prices. A mint state 1951 wheat penny with crisp surfaces and full detail is always in demand. Collectors are willing to pay more for examples that still look almost exactly as they did the day they left the mint over 70 years ago. Even though many 1951 pennies were made, finding one in pristine condition today isn't easy. Over decades of circulation, most have developed wear and damage from handling. That's why a coin with clear lettering, smooth edges, and minimal marks can stand out and bring a premium value. If you find a 1951 penny that looks particularly sharp or well-preserved, it's absolutely worth keeping. For coin collectors, the 1951 wheat penny holds an important place in the Lincoln Cent series. It represents one of the later years of the wheat-back design before the Lincoln Memorial Reverse was introduced in 1959. Many collectors strive to complete full sets of wheat pennies, and the 1951 is one of those dates that's always needed. Because of this steady demand, even common examples remain popular and trade regularly among collectors. If you're searching through old coins, pay special attention to the small S mint mark and the condition of the coin. Check for any doubling on the date or letters, and inspect the mint mark closely. Even slight repunching can make your coin worth much more. Every small detail matters when it comes to coins like the 1951 wheat penny. The value range for this coin varies, depending on what you find. Circulated coins in average condition might only be worth a few cents to a dollar, but coins in mint state condition or with notable errors can bring in several dollars to even higher amounts among dedicated collectors. The combination of condition, rarity of the error, and eye appeal all contribute to how much collectors are willing to pay. Many collectors and coin enthusiasts have found 1951 wheat pennies in old jars, coin rolls, or inherited collections and were surprised by how much their coins were worth once they inspected them closely. Even if you don't have one of the rare era coins, a high-quality example is still a valuable piece of numismatic history worth keeping. The 1951 Lincoln wheat penny is a great reminder that even small, ordinary coins can hold hidden value. The key is knowledge, knowing what to look for and how to recognize a special coin when you see one. Always take a moment to look closely at your pennies, especially older ones like this. You never know when you might come across a coin that's far more valuable than it seems. So, if you happen to have a 1951 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark, take a close look at it. Check for strong details, clean surfaces, and any unusual marks or doubling. This simple 1-cent coin from San Francisco could be worth much more than you think. And for many collectors, it's one of the exciting finds that keeps coin collecting fun and rewarding. The 1951 wheat penny remains one of those classic collectible coins that continues to attract attention from coin lovers all over the world. It may be small, but its value can be significant. Always check your coins carefully. That tiny S mint mark could be the clue that you're holding something truly special and valuable. Next up, the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny with the D mint mark is one of those coins that every collector should know about because it may look like a regular old penny, but in reality, it can be quite valuable. Many people have these coins sitting in jars, drawers, or inherited collections without realizing that their 1952 D wheat penny might be worth far more than just 1 cent. Whether you're a coin collector, treasure hunter, or someone who just enjoys finding hidden value in everyday change, this coin deserves your full attention. The 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which is why it carries the small D mint mark right below the date on the front of the coin. That mint mark instantly tells you where the coin was produced, and it's one of the first things to look for when you examine your old pennies. The Denver Mint produced a large number of these coins, but not all 1952 D pennies are equal in value. The coin's condition, strike quality, and any possible minting errors can make a huge difference in how much it's worth. The front of the 1952 D wheat penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. You'll see "In God We Trust" inscribed above Lincoln's head, Liberty to the left, and the date 1952 with the small D mint mark below it on the right. On the back, you'll find the 2 wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum across the top. This classic wheat bag design was used from 1909 through 1958 and remains one of the most iconic and beloved coin designs in American history. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1952 D wheat penny valuable. The Denver Mint produced over 746 million of these coins, so while they're not rare in terms of total mintage, their value depends heavily on condition and variety. Circulated coins that have been used in everyday transactions are usually worth a few cents, but uncirculated examples, coins that still look brand new, can be worth several dollars or more. The cleaner and sharper your coin looks, the higher its potential value. Collectors especially look for high-quality examples with full, crisp details. When you check your coin, look at Lincoln's hair, beard, and the lines on the wheat stalks on the back. The clearer these details are, the more desirable your coin becomes. Coins with no scratches, dents, or corrosion are far more collectible. And if your 1952 D penny has strong eye appeal, it's definitely worth holding on to. One of the most exciting things about the 1952 D wheat penny is that there are known mint errors and die varieties that can make your coin worth much more. Errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and collectors love these unusual coins because they're unique. For the 1952 D penny, one of the most sought-after errors is the repunched mint mark, RPM. This happens when the D mint mark was punched into the die more than once, leaving behind a visible doubling or shadow effect. Some 1952 DRPM varieties show a clear second impression of the D mint mark, and those coins can sell for many times more than a regular 1952 D penny. Another possible variety to watch for is the double die obverse, where the letters or numbers on the front of the coin appear doubled. Doubling can often be seen on Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date. These varieties are very collectible and can raise your coin's value significantly. You may also find coins with die cracks, off-center strikes, or lamination errors, all of which occur during production and make a coin more desirable to collectors. When determining the value of a 1952 D-Wheat penny, condition matters the most. Coins are generally graded on a scale from worn and circulated to mint state. Circulated examples are common, but coins in mint state condition, meaning they show no wear at all, are worth more. Even within mint state grades, coins with a sharp strike and smooth surfaces will always stand out. Collectors often prefer coins that have been well preserved for decades, stored safely away from humidity, moisture, or dirt. Finding a 1952 D-Wheat penny with full detail and clean surfaces is becoming less common today, which helps increase its market demand. If your coin looks bright, detailed, and free of major damage, it's definitely worth checking its current market value, because even small improvements in condition can raise the price. The 1952 D-Wheat penny also plays an important role in the history of Lincoln cents. It's part of the post-war era of coinage, when production quality improved and the mint was striking massive quantities to keep up with the growing economy. However, despite the large numbers, the Denver Mint's coins sometimes show variations in strike strength, and those that were struck sharply and cleanly are especially prized by collectors today. Even though the 1952 D penny is not among the rarest wheat pennies, it remains an important date for anyone building a complete Lincoln cent collection. Every collector needs the 1952 D to fill out their set, and that consistent demand helps maintain its value. Finding one with outstanding quality or a known mint error makes it even better, and those are the coins that can bring strong prices in the numismatic market. If you've ever come across a 1952 D-Wheat penny, take the time to examine it carefully. Look at the mint mark under magnification, check for doubling or odd details, and make sure to note the condition. Many people overlook these pennies, but some are worth much more than they realize. The difference between a common coin and a valuable one often comes down to just a few small details. Even a small error or a higher grade can turn an ordinary penny into something special. And that's why collectors love the 1952 D. Lincoln Wheat penny. It's full of potential surprises. Some people have found coins in old boxes, inherited collections, or coin rolls that turned out to be worth much more than expected. It's always worth taking a closer look. The 1952 D. Lincoln Wheat penny remains a classic example of mid-20th century U.S. coinage. It represents a time when craftsmanship and production detail still mattered, and it's a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can hold hidden value. So, if you have a 1952 D-Wheat penny, hold on to it and give it a good look. Whether it's an error coin, a sharply struck piece, or simply a well-preserved example, it could be a valuable find. Always check for the D mint mark under the date and inspect the coin's details carefully, because what looks like a simple old penny could actually be worth a lot more than you think. The 1952 D. Lincoln Wheat penny continues to attract collectors and coin enthusiasts all over the world. It's small, historic, and in some cases, surprisingly valuable. So before you spend that old penny, take a second look. That tiny coin from Denver could turn out to be a real treasure. If you enjoyed learning about these valuable coins, make sure you don't miss my previous video on the Kennedy half-dollar coins. Those coins are also full of hidden treasures and surprising value that every collector should know about. Many people have Kennedy half-dollars sitting in drawers or coin jars without realizing how much they could be worth. So go check out that video right after this one to discover which ones could make you real money. And if you love finding out the value of rare and collectible coins, make sure to subscribe to my channel right now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of my new videos. I post regularly about valuable coins, Old pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and half dollars that could be worth far more than their face value. Your support really helps this channel grow, and together we can keep uncovering the fascinating stories and hidden value behind every coin. So don't forget, watch my previous video on the Kennedy half-dollar coins. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video where we explore even more rare and valuable coins that might be hiding in your pocket change today.